Okay, AIU made another video about me. It's fucking unwatchable. The majority of the time is just him talking to people in the room. And when he deigns to actually spend some time addressing what I'm saying, he half listens and he strawmans me. So no, AIU, I'm not going to reply to any fucking bottom of the barrel garbage that you say about me, right? It's like, if you want to reply, you put out a video where the majority of the time you're actually replying to my arguments. I'd be happy to wreck anything like that, but I'm not going to sit through, hours of you talking about unrelated things waiting for the points. Get fucked. Of course, as always, if Devin actually wants to step into a voice room, I'll annihilate him. He won't do that. He's a little bitch. Oh, and he has this analogy. I think this is supposed to refer to debate. Like, if you don't want to have sex with me, it's because you're scared. You want a more accurate analogy, Devin? How about if you constantly talk shit about how bad I am at basketball and suggest that you're better, and I then challenge you to a 1v1 and you won't even enter a court with me, yeah, you are probably scared. Okay, that's my position. And I don't know if he's going to see that and just go off forever about the analogy. Probably, who the fuck knows, right? Bottom line, dude, if you can defend your ideas, step in a fucking voice room. You're a coward, you're a bitch. When you're ready to actually defend your position, I will fucking stomp your ass through the floor, and you know it. Okay. Now, having said that, he has some fans who are reasonable enough, and whenever I get in it with him and start exposing how fucking how disabled he's being with this topic, some of the reasonable fans come by, they explore the community, they go into the Discord server, and they notice, hey, it's just a bunch of normal human beings in here. This actually isn't that bad, and sometimes we have some reasonable conversations, sometimes some of them want to debate. So here's a debate I had with an AIU fan. It was respectful. I think the guy came out kind of insane in the end, but it was at least a respectful conversation. And, as much as I'm annoyed with Devin, I'm happy to have the same kind of respectful conversation with him when he's ready to uncuck from the shadows. With that said, enjoy the video. Me talking to an AIU fan. This guy's name is Antonio. Okay. You have to interact with what I'm saying, not just talk at me, okay? So I'm saying something specific. If your trait is belonging to a species that has at some point achieved personhood up to 100% of its members, right? That is something that humans haven't done. So it would be a category error to name that trait because it's not something true of the one but not the other. It's something that's not true of either.
I'm going to answer that question, but I want you to understand why.
What I want you to answer is: do you understand?
Okay, but let me tell you what I'm talking about.
Please. Do you understand that the number can't be 100%?
That's fine. You're going to see in a second. Okay. But let's just say it's 95%. But can I give you something why this is not equal?
No. 1 second. I want to work with what you've given me. I don't want you to just go off. I want to reply. You've put a lot on the table. Now I'm trying to break down what you've said. Okay. So the trait that we have, right? Because I'm just trying to systematically understand what you're saying and then give you the reductio. So it's not useful for you to just continue.
I'm going to do what you say. But I might tell you, if you gave me one sentence, it would clear up why we're talking different things.
Okay, one second.
Yep, go ahead.
So we have the trait is the difference, the thing true of animals that if true of humans would justify treating them in the same kind of way is that on average they are not a member of a species. Sorry, I misphrased it. Whatever. They're not a member of a species that has achieved personhood to a point that it's characteristic of like 95% of the species. Okay. Now,
I hate that definition. I think it's.
Well, wait. Do you accept?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
No. If you don't accept it, you're going to have to clarify. Is that what you're saying, or do you want to say something else than that?
Yeah. Here's the deal. So let's say 5 cows were born right now. They've reached personhood. And let's just say, my definitions, any of them make it. Now that includes, I know we said 95%.
No, Antonio, you're going. Sorry, please, Antonio, we can't make progress if you do it like that. We need to be precise. Okay, are you modifying the trait? Yes or no?
I am not sure because I'm not very good at the logic part. Okay. But I will tell you that if 95% of cows have reached personhood, there's still 5% that have not. Now, it's not because they are a marginal case where they're retarded. That is their normal genetics. There's no affliction there. So there's a difference.
Antonio, you're killing me.
Okay, go ahead.
You're killing me.
Sorry.
Look, I'm just trying to understand what the trait is. So far, I have that it's belonging. Sorry, it's that they don't belong to a species that has achieved personhood to a point that it's characteristic of 95% of them. Okay, that's what I currently have on the table. Stop. Now, is the trait that, or is it something other than that?
I don't think it is, but it sounds like a very simpler way. I want to give you two scenarios.
No, I don't. Antonio, no. 1 second. Okay. I don't need the scenarios. All I need to know is if I've got the trait right. Now, is the answer
it would have to be 95%.
I've already said what I think it is. Am I correct or am I not correct?
That 5% that's below.
But here, let me say what I think it is, and you tell me if I'm correct or if I'm not correct. What I have is that the trait is animals do not belong to a species that has achieved personhood to a point that it's characteristic of 95% of them.
As long as the 5% that's
Wait,
not?
No.
I can't do that? Okay. I'm going to say yes.
Stop. Wait. You don't have to. Sorry, you don't have to say yes. We have to understand the conversation, dude. So, do you want that to be? Do you want that to be the trait, or are you trying? Do you want to modify that further?
Man, the only thing that I'm going to say yes, but that 5%, I don't think we're identifying correctly. Because right now, if 95% of cows are reaching personhood and the 5% are still the regular species of cow that were before, that is different from humans. 95%.
No, I'm talking about what would. No. We're asking for the trait that would cause you to say of the whole category.
Okay, I got it now.
So there's some point where it's okay for all of them. That's what we're trying to find out. And is that point described by? Yeah.
The trait is a group member of a group of a species that has reached personhood, where the ones that are not personhood is because of a fault of them. It's not. It's that they have a defect. It's not because that's invoking language that's going to get you into weird philosophical territory you won't be able to defend. Let's just keep it simple. So 1 second. How do you well know that, because you're going to try to invoke that, but that's going to be weird, because how do you determine what is a fault, right? Because a fault. So here's what you're going to get into. Okay, I really want you to pay attention to this. I don't know how much of my content you watch, so you have to try to. I've watched it all.
When you bring in the concept of a fault, that's bringing in a normative concept, okay? A fault is you're wrong with respect to some kind of thing, like some kind of goal, some kind of norm, okay? So if you try to say that the lack of intelligence is a fault in one species but not the other, even if, for example, the same percentage of both species have this lack of intelligence, you're going to need to explain what it's a fault with respect to, right? So you're going to get into personhood.
Not being on that threshold of personhood. You still belong to the species, but sorry, you're not following. Okay, I understand that the fault. I understand that the thing that you're saying is an instance of a fault. Is that this is the Sorry, let me think of how to phrase that. Just give me 1 second. Please don't fill my head with a bunch of words. Okay, I lost track, so I'm just going to say the thing I was saying before. Okay. If you bring in the concept of a fault and you try to say, even if, we have 50% of people, say that we get animals up to a point that, 95% of them are intelligent or something like this, there's the same amount of, mental disability among them as humans, it's still okay to eat the one but not the other. And the thing that's morally distinct there is that in one case there's a fault, right? A fault is a normative concept. You're going to need to explain what it's a fault with respect to. I understand the thing that you're saying is a fault is that they don't have a certain level of intelligence, but I'm asking what that's a fault with respect to, right? You just said a very key word there that will help this out. You just said a disability. So that's what I'm talking about. If the 5% is disabled, that is different from...
Right. No, you're missing the point. Okay. So what does it mean to say, if we... Look, just say that we have... And this is all before actually running your trait. This is just clarifying a concept, right? If we have cows and we have humans, and we say that now 95% of cows, we say that we have the same intelligence distribution for humans and cows, okay? There's the same amount of smart people, same amount of stupid, same amount of disabled, whatever, okay? Or maybe in one case it's not disabled. Now, you want to say that the very low intelligence people, in the human case, they qualify as disabled, and in the cow case, they don't qualify as disabled. And what I'm asking is, by what standard are you saying that, right? Why is it that one qualifies as disabled but the other doesn't?
This is also something that's happening here. When this cows that are reach personhood, just so you know, that's a whole new species. Like, and those guys will have babies.
No,
and
you're rambling. Wait, you're not answering. Okay, so this is just very important. I understand you're probably new to being in like this kind of space, like debate, philosophy, logic stuff. But okay, so you have a habit that people have when they do normal, like just talking with their buddies conversation. Totally understandable. Okay, which is you just.
I know how you get. You will cut me off in a second. You'll throw me away.
Well, you just I want you to just understand why, because then you can just avoid that happening. Okay, what you're doing is you're doing a kind of stream of consciousness thing. It's very good. It's a nice way to talk to people. It's pleasant if you want to have just a conversation and chat. Okay, I'm saying something and then you're riffing off of it, right? But that's not what we need right now. What I'm doing is I'm asking you actual circumspect questions that I need direct answers to proceed through a logical pathway to generate like an overall answer to your trade. Okay?
Yeah, this is why I didn't want to waste your time, by the way, because I knew it would be this way.
No, it's fine. It's just focus on just giving the clearest, most concise.
I'll do my best. That's why I needed prep time. But yeah, I'm gonna do
that. No, I mean it's not. Prep time makes it sound like it's all about like owning someone. Like contrary to what like fucking
I do have that
ego
boost. I don't trying to own you. Yeah, but I know you'll own me in the end.
I don't expect like I don't look, you're here obviously in good faith. You seem like you're not trying to be a fucking knob, okay? So there's no interest in owning you. But I do want to explain this to you. Okay, so now if we have 95%, if we have, cows, right, and we say that now they have the same intelligence distribution as humans, you're saying that in the case of the people who are very low intelligence, for humans, those people are not failing with respect to something, right? But in the animal context, they're failing with respect to something. That failure is a normative concept. You have to tell me, what is it a failure with respect to, right? Because that's your basis for saying.
I think I'm at the IQ limit, dude, because the only thing I can tell you, and I would hope that you could help me. I know you don't want to be my lawyer here, but let's say I want to somehow express that there's a difference between cows that still have not passed the threshold and people that are disabled and born retarded. It's not like we have Neanderthal, the human species still alive. We killed them off. And now we had at some point, that retard had a family member that it's genetics, it's hereditary. At some point, there was two people that were not cow-minded retard. And this person is defective. And that's different from the human that we evolved from and we left them behind. And let's say they're still around. They would probably still reach person. But I'm talking about there's a point before we got past the personhood. That's a very gray area. But anyway, if there's some way you can tell me how we can differentiate between disabled humans and then the ones that didn't evolve yet, that they haven't reached personhood.
I'm actually drawing you a diagram.
Shit, bro. No, but
just give me 1 minute, okay?
If anybody else can step in and lawyer up for me and tell me how we can differentiate between disabled humans and somebody that just hadn't evolved yet. Because for me, once that cow turns into personhood and maybe he finds, hopefully that mutation happened twice and they can make a family of cows that maybe pass that personhood trait down. That to me is a new species. So that is different. Now they're going to have retards in that new species.
Antonio, I'm posting you an image, okay? So let's just.
I want somebody to help me out because I know the frustration.
You're gonna. Okay, all right. So this is my image. It's called Antonio's Weird Idea. so here's two graphs. Okay, so I mean, if you watch AIU, I mean, guess you've probably seen the intelligence curves. Yeah. So let's say we have humans and animals. I should have written cows, I guess, so we were talking about cows. Okay, but whatever. Presumably it applies to others too. Okay. So here's the case where we say that the animals have the same intelligence distribution as the humans. Okay. Now, why is it that area in the red circle, for humans, they're disabled and for animals, they're not disabled?
Okay. So disabled human is because they at some point had a hereditary line of two humans that were personhood. They've reached the threshold. They're not a different species. They're part of that species.
No, but that's happened by definition, dude. Look at the animals; they have the same IQ distribution. So whatever intelligence the humans have reached, so have the animal. So that's not, you can't use that to explain the difference, because that's something that's the same for both of those graphs. Both of those graphs show that the species has members, far more than two members, who have attained that level of intelligence, right? So you can't say that that's the difference between them. That's a similarity.
I suck at art. I wanted to draw a picture that showed cows that have passed the threshold and they have baby retards, and those are protected now. But the cows left behind,
but
that have not ever
Antonio, I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. When you say they've passed the threshold, this species has passed the threshold right here. Don't you see that? Look at their intelligence distribution.
Yeah, that seems like a dolphin or a grade 8, probably.
No. This is remember, this is my hypothetical, okay? That's the cows when we say...
Wait, the x-axis is time, right? Is it overtime?
No. It's just intelligence, so it's numbers. I guess I should have written this. Sorry, it's like you.
What's the x-axis?
I'll explain, but it's what you just for the record. Just for the record, it's what you'll normally see on an intelligence graph. So on the y-axis, you've got the number of people. Oh yeah, on the y-axis you have the number of people, and on the x-axis you have the IQ, and it's going up. Sorry. So as you can see, one second, Antonio. So as you can see, the most people are at the middle, right? That's where it's
bell curve. I get it now.
Yeah. Okay. So what I've circled is the percentage of the population that's very low intelligence. Okay. Now I'm asking you, why is it that in the human case they're disabled, but in the animal case they're not disabled? Now, if your answer to that is to say, well, in the human case they belong to a species that's it attained this 95% of them having personhood. That's the case with the animals too. Remember, this shows the same intelligence. This is the hypothetical where they have an intelligence distribution just like ours.
There is a z-axis missing here, just so you know. There is time that you're not representing here. If this animal that you're showing me on the right did those disabled, or I would call them disabled, if they had been born from cows that were per personhood threshold, then these cows are part of this new species. What I'm talking about is the cows left behind that don't have a family member going back.
Wait, I'm not understanding. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding.
I would say these two things are the same right now that you're showing me. And they
wait.
Disabled and protected. And it's not because 95%.
Okay, all right. Okay, wait, no, okay, that's good. So then let's go back to name the trait, okay? So now what you say that the trait is belonging to a species where 95% of them have achieved personhood, right? Now, the reason we ended up down that pathway about disability and stuff was you tried to say, I don't even remember it. I'm not even going to recap it because I can't remember exactly what it was, but you tried to add some further condition to the trait, something about how some in fact, I don't even know why I went down that pathway. It was like you just made that weird comment, and I guess I might have wanted to address it. Anyway, okay, so is that the trait or is that not the trait? We're talking about a member of a species where 95% of them have achieved personhood. That's what we're talking about, right? Or
that
is the
whole
trait
95% shit is what throws it off. Because if I just gave you the straight up definition, a member of a species that has passed the threshold of personhood.
But what does it mean? No, Antonio, stop. When you say a member of a species that has passed the threshold of personhood, the reason why we're adding that language about percentage is because we're trying to clarify what you mean by that.
Right, we have to define that. And that is, I think, where I'm great.
What does it mean to pass the threshold of personhood? I thought that meant that at some point 95% of them have gotten over, right?
And that, I think that is where there's a wiggle room for debate and stuff.
Well, wait, and
I will tell you. But I do think there's a definition where it could be flexible of how do we define what is belonging to a member of species? Is it 95%? And I don't know if that's the true answer.
But Antonio, if you can't give an answer, then you're not answering my critique clearly, right? Like if you're not able to actually answer that question, I don't know what trait you're offering, right? And then we're gonna end up in
it doesn't have to be 95%. What it has to be is that group, all of its members. So at some point, and you can find down your hereditary. Let's say I'm retarded, right? Because right now I'm showing my low IQ status.
Are you about to say all of its members have to have achieved personhood?
It's hereditary. Like at some point, you have to go back in my timeline, and of course, we're all born from the same woman. In Africa.
Yeah. Just say the trait though. What okay, what is it?
Okay, let's see if I can get this. Member of a group of species where it's hereditary leads to a member that was of what is it? Personhood, threshold of personhood.
So are you saying? Let me understand. Yeah, there's someone in your timeline who has achieved personhood.
There you go.
Okay, now setting aside the obvious like weird problems you might get like with if you were to say that's the correct. Well, in fact, I won't even go down that road. I'll just go right to the problem with that. Okay, so now that is something that we're gonna say. In fact, here let me just think about what the best way to present this is because I don't want to fucking go in circles forever. Okay, you're saying you're a member of a species where one member has achieved intelligence in the past. Okay, so. Let me just think about that for 1 second. Just give me a second to process that. Who's that?
By the way, does anybody know what is that word that I'm thinking of? You know, like we're all tied to the same.
No. So the original reductio is going to be the one that we're going to use here. So if we just say that we have a possible world where it's just disabled people, right? They haven't had that in their past. It's just disabled people. Do you think that those beings are ethical to Holocaust?
Yeah, and at that point, I don't even think of them as human, right? They're not disabled. I
don't
they just never passed the threshold. So humans never reached the threshold.
One second. But the point is just that if we could have the minds, right? We could have minds that are exactly identical to the disabled people on Earth right now. So, for example, the kind of experiences that Hitler created for disabled people, in concentration camps.
Nice one.
Those same experiences would be fine to create on this view, right?
Good game. GG. All right, so let me think about this. That is weird stuff. Yeah, man, I think they probably would get killed. I mean, but I get it. I see what you're saying. It's fucking hitting me. All right, let me think about. Okay, so this is a split universe, and right now, it's basically whatever species we came from. But no, you're saying they're human too. So that's what I think. I think you're changing the definition. Like, to be human is they had to have gone to reach personhood. Like the thing before us that was not of personhood at some point, because you have to go further back. Even the species before us was of personhood. I would say it would have to be like lower than ape. And at that point, like let's say those things are still around today. We find an island, not an island of Neanderthals.
I can save you a bunch of time. Okay. So the beings, I don't, whether they fit your definition of human or not, doesn't matter to me. Okay. All we're talking about is we could have beings that are physically identical, okay, to the disabled people on Earth right now. As long as that is the entire species, right? And as long as at no point in the past was there someone who wasn't one of those beings, it's fine to Holocaust those beings, right? So your view is still compatible with creating the exact experiences that Hitler created for disabled people in Auschwitz.
But what I hate about it is that Hitler's killing actual disabled people, so you're killing something else.
Right. So I know it's a saying. Just to be clear, you're saying it would not be a disabled person. That's fine. But what we're talking about, I don't care what you want to call this being. It's a being that is molecularly and subjectively identical to a disabled. It has the same body.
Actually, Isaac, I want to give some input here, if you don't mind.
Well, I mean, what is it? Is it really important?
Yeah, I think it's relevant to discussion.
Let me just add something before he throws it in.
Yeah, I mean, Belkin, if it's some bullshit, I'll be annoyed, okay? Like, we're in the middle of something. What is it?
Yeah, I think to conceptualize it, I would say that do you know Bree? Like, if there was just a world full of people like Bree,
we don't need to go even all the way to Bree.
What I'm trying to get to you is there's a difference between broken humans and the species of animal that has not reached personhood. Like disabled people tells me that they
wait. Yeah, we went through that kind of stuff already. Okay, we already, like, it doesn't matter. All I'm telling you is the reductio is beings that are molecularly and subjectively identical. That if you saw them, you would say that's a disabled person. If you, who's that? Who did that?
Yeah, I don't know. The difference is like
this is why I like the other rooms. I hate everyone fucking trolls with their stupid noise. You know, one time someone was in here. Actually, I'm gonna get carried away. Fuck it. Sorry. Okay, look. Your view is just going to be that beings that are molecularly, so it's exact same fucking body, okay? Same body, same mind. Those beings are ethical to do what Hitler did, right? That's ethical as long as all of the beings, as long as all of them are that kind of being, and there's never a member that wasn't, right? So we could just have, I mean, do you actually think that, like, I understand your view has led here, but often we just say something and then it has a logical conclusion we don't want. Like, you don't actually believe. One second, please. Yeah. Now, what I want to ask you ultimately is, do you actually really believe that? And I'm assuming you don't. I'm assuming you're a normal person. You're just trying to find a Karnas position that works, and you tried one and it got you somewhere crazy. I'm assuming you don't actually think that would be an okay thing to do, right?
Man, the way I argue is,
can you please just answer? Just please answer directly.
Yeah, I think you're correct in that.
Okay.
I'm mixed though. I do want to see how it plays
You're
out.
Mixed about holocausting those beings? You're mixed. You're not sure?
No,
it's not clear to you that a world full of beings that you could not distinguish from mentally disabled people, and that themselves are subjectively and molecularly identical.
This is the thing. Right? A broken human has somebody to step in.
No, but you're just going on. Well, no, I'm asking you something. Are you actually uncertain about holocausting those beings? Is it really a question to you? You'd be looking, if you saw this world, it would just be the beings that you look at right now and you go disabled person. Even if you say in another possible world they have to be called something else, that's fine. But we're saying it's those beings, and they're in cages, they're getting their throat slit. Are you actually telling me that you're uncertain if that's ethical or not?
So it's basically
please answer directly. Please answer directly.
Man, I would say no, because man, I have this human attachment, right? Where I have to remove my history. Now, if you remove my history,
wait, no. But one second. When you say no, you mean
me now. I would say that's
wait. Right. Okay. Of course. Now, if that's bad, 1 second. If that's bad, then we've got our first contradiction here. Okay, because what you just did was you said that if it's the case that the beings in question belong to a species where never has any member achieved personhood, that it is ethical to Holocaust them, then I found an example where we have a species that where never a member has attained personhood, and it's not ethical to Holocaust them, right?
This is unfair, dude, because you're attaching it to me.
What? Wait! No! Come on! No, I don't. No. I'm not asking. I'm not asking what a disembodied mind thinks. I'm asking about your values.
Because I want to be a lawyer.
Why would I care about what a disembodied like? I mean, can I just please? Like, I'm sorry if I sound like fucking Stefan Molyneux here, but it's like I have to make fun of that. Like, who imagine what an insanely greasy move that is. I know you didn't try to be greasy.
Because I'm fucking biased.
Wait a sec. I know. Okay, that's fine. I know you're not trying to be greasy, but that's actually a new level of imagine being like, you know, I'm not sure, like, my opinion, I know you want to focus on that, but what would the opinion be of a disembodied mind? Let's try to figure that out. It's like, what are you talking about? Okay, so, look, we got a trait, we got a counterexample, that's a contradiction. Okay, so now you have an option. You can either bite the bullet and say, yeah, actually it is ethical to Holocaust those beings. You can back off of the trait, in which case we're back to, you have to try to name a trait, right? Or you could just accept the contradiction and say there's true contradictions and become a dialetheist.
I would tell you my feeling now is that it is bad, But if I was part of the alien species on that,
don't care about that. All that's relevant. Don't care about that. Okay, so now that's the Sam Cedar move, right? I don't care about what a different being would think with different emotions. I care about what you would think. Now, if you don't accept that, then the question is, what is the trait? Right? We're back to that other question, because the answer you gave to name the trait produced a contradiction. So now we're back to the prior question.
Okay, here we go. I got it.
It's like a flow of steps, right? Like you put yourself into the next step, but then you backfired yourself back to this one, right? So now you're back to naming the trait.
Okay, here we go. Member of a species in a particular universe where it has had a hereditary line of a member that reached personhood.
The same reductio is going to work.
Really? You could still bring that other universe?
Well, no, wait. Yeah, we're doing it. So it's a series of we're talking about possible worlds, right? And we're saying, here's a possible world where never has a member of that species attained personhood, right? So you can't, so that it is the case in that situation. That is a universe, if you want to call it that. It's a possible world where no being has achieved that. So you're not adding anything that would take the current reductio off the table. It would be the same reductio.
Man, I think it's okay to kill that thing and eat it like we do cows. But
yeah,
the thing is,
wait a second. No. I'm asking you personally. I don't care about what some other being would think or what else. I don't care about any of that. I'm asking, do you personally think it's ethical to kill that being? It is a being that is molecular.
Can I say it as somebody?
No. Can I lie?
I just want to put the position, because I do think another Carnus, like if you told me, okay, shoot it, and
Antonio, please, instead of this, if you get backed into the corner, just tap out and then come back later. Okay, don't give me other people's perspective. I don't care about that.
And does it matter that I think it's bad, not because that thing has that value? It's just because now it's looking like a human, and that's fucked up. It's like, hey, eat that snake. I'm not going to shoot the snake.
I don't care why. I don't look. Okay. All I'm saying is the trait you gave produced a contradiction. Now we don't know what the trait is.
I would say it's okay, but it would only be wrong as in eating a
so your view is that recreating the exact kind of experience to molecularly and subjectively identical being,
and that
as Hitler did in Auschwitz, that's ethical on your view.
The only reason that it makes it different is
just to be clear, so if you see
Okay, let me just unmute
right? So
you.
There's cages filled with beings that are indistinct. Well, but the thing is, you bite the bullet, and I know you're not actually thinking about the reductio, because every time I describe it more vividly, every time I actually describe it vividly, you start cringing. So look, it's just factory farms. You've got little fucking cages, and they're packed full of beings that they just look like the disabled people you see on the street. They're the same molecularly. They have the same minds, same kind of subjective content. You're just seeing these beings, right? You can't distinguish them from a human, being hung upside down, having their throat slit, getting bolt gunned in the head, getting anally fisted.
Here's where I'm probably going to get banned.
Well, just be honest. Do you actually think that's ethical?
I think so, and you would find it
right.
too if plants.
Now, just to be clear. Now, wait a second. Wait a second. Slow down. Okay. Now, I don't think that you're being honest, but that's fine. If you're going to stick your feet in the ground and say that you accept a holocaust of what everyone else would call disabled people, right? You call them something special, that's fine. But we're talking about beings that are mentally and physically identical to the beings in this world. The only difference is that they exist in a different possible world.
Wait, and they're not broken. That is their normal.
Stop. Okay. No, you couldn't. We tried the whole broken thing. You weren't able to make any sense of that. Now, if we have a possible world where it's just beings that they like you would look at them and say that's a disabled person, okay? In fact, everyone else would say that of them because it's a being that has the same molecules and the same mind. What else is different? The only difference is that they exist in a different possible world. You think them existing in a different possible world actually requires them to be named differently. But everyone else is going to say, okay, that's still the same thing that we refer to in this world as a disabled person, okay? You think that it's ethical. Hey, Google, stop. You think that it's ethical to Holocaust these beings as long as there aren't, as long as no member of their species has ever been smart, right? You think it's ethical to Holocaust the disabled. That's ultimately what your position is. Now, if you truly think that, which I don't think you do, but if you're going to say, I'm planting my feet in the ground and you're just going to pretend to believe that, then okay, no, that's fine.
I'm trying to be honest. But okay. I am torn, right? I do.
You're torn about whether that's ethical?
I wouldn't pull a trigger. But then, do I think it's wrong? Like right now, there's probably another country that's eating. I can't think of something they.
No, I'm not. You don't have to pull the trigger. You could just buy their meat.
Right. No, buy it. You want me to you want me to get involved with it? Where I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, buying it. I think buying it is getting involved with it. But I mean, you don't have to pull the trigger. You're pulling it by proxy.
If I say I wouldn't pull the trigger, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't.
I'm not asking if you.
Fine.
Yeah,
I think
you
that
think
Hitler doing that
right?
Is like, oh yeah, that's
okay,
weird.
Right.
Hitler,
So
your
view is that it's fine to Holocaust the disabled.
Except Hitler wouldn't be able to do what.
I'm not asking about Hitler.
Okay.
I'm not asking
another Hitler in another universe.
I'm not asking about any of that. I'm asking. You think it's ethical to Holocaust the disabled? That's the question.
Do you understand why it's bad to call them disabled? Do you see a difference between disabled?
I've been very clear about this. Okay, you know what I'm referring to by disabled. I understand that you think that the beings that are molecularly and subjectively identical to disabled people in this world should be labeled differently in another world. Okay, you can label them differently if you want to and call them blog blarks. Okay, but everyone else would recognize them as disabled.
Really, everybody people. Would call them disabled.
It's
like a cow.
Yeah. The only difference is that they're in a possible world. Okay, so like when I get up in the morning and I picture, am I going to have cereal or am I going to have toast? Okay, all I'm doing is the only difference with me and the hypothetical is that's me in some other possible world, right? I don't start saying that's not an Isaac anymore, right? So if you want stop. If you want to do that with disabled people, just so you don't have to use the word because you think that it makes you probably look insane, right? That's fine. But when I say disabled people, you know what I'm referring to. I'm referring to a being that is absolutely identical physically and subjectively to the disabled people who exist on this earth right now. I'm going to call those beings disabled people. If you want to call them something else, that's fine, but you know what I'm talking about. You are fine holocausting those beings, right? Or no, you said you're not, right? Are you or aren't you? Is it?
Me, myself, I wouldn't partake in it.
Trigger. I'm asking if you think it's fine. That's what I'm asking you.
But let's say you offer me a plate and I say no. What does that mean to you?
I don't care about that. I'm asking, do you think it's fine? That's the question.
Yes.
Okay. Now, stop. Now, if you think that, I'm not going to tell you your position is inconsistent, okay? But for those of us who aren't comfortable with holocausting the disabled, we're not going to be able to agree with you. And that's basically where Name the Trait would end. So that's the walkthrough that you're asking for.